In the glow of Valentine snapshots and celebrity courtside outings, hushed revelations expose Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's glossy veneer, splintering amid security feuds, Epstein echoes, and marital murmurs raising doubts if their California haven will bridge royal gaps or widen the chasm of drama and debt. Good evening, and thank you for joining me as we sift through these riveting royal ripples with the discerning eye you bring. We begin with one of the most talked about sightings over these February days. Prince Harry and Meghan's surprise appearance at the NBA All-Star Game on the 15th, right there at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California. Seated courtside in prime spots, they were flanked by the likes of Queen Latifah, turning heads during the league's splashy 75th anniversary celebration. Photos captured them in what seemed like relaxed harmony. Meghan in a chic dark blue blazer, Harry keeping it casual with an open collar shirt, the pair laughing, holding hands, and soaking in the high-energy atmosphere as the game unfolded on global screens. A source behind closed doors confides this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment jaunt. It was a carefully chosen public moment, perhaps to project that unbreakable power couple front they've honed since their royal exit. But let's pause for a touch of realism after endless whispers of them leading increasingly separate lives, with Harry off handling solo commitments and Meghan laser-focused on her ventures. This outing feels a bit too perfectly timed to silence the skeptics. Public sentiment, as I've observed it bubbling up, carries a note of dismissal. Many see it as performative, especially when you factor in the eye-popping costs. Those premium seats, they don't come cheap, often fetching tens of thousands, a stark illustration of how their lavish Montecito lifestyle is bankrolled by deals and appearances that keep them squarely in the media glare they so often decry. This NBA spectacle dovetails neatly with their Valentine celebrations, which have generated their own share of intrigue, spilling into the 15th and 16th. Reports paint a picture of a romantic dinner the evening before at Funke, one of their favored Beverly Hills haunts, known for its upscale Italian fare and celebrity draw. Paparazzi snaps show them arriving hand in hand, but a closer look reveals expressions that some describe as subdued, even miserable amid the flashbulbs. A source behind closed doors murmurs that, despite their vocal campaigns against invasive media, recall the lawsuits and Netflix exposés, this encounter might have been tipped off deliberately, ensuring the images circulated to counter those persistent rumors of marital drift. It's a classic case of mixed messages, isn't it? One moment victims of relentless hounding, the next seemingly leveraging it for image control. Whispers from a longtime family acquaintance suggest the evening carried underlying tensions, perhaps tied to recent staff shakeups or the weight of their ongoing legal battles, leaving them looking less like blissful lovers and more like a pair navigating choppy waters. And with money always in the mix, such outings underscore the financial gymnastics required to maintain their A-list orbit. Private jets, security details, and all amid reports of donor dips at their Arkawell Foundation. Of course, no Valentine's roundup would be complete without that intimate family share from Meghan's Instagram on the 14th, which exploded across feeds into the following days. There was Prince Harry, beaming as he held their 4-year-old daughter, Princess Lilibet, surrounded by festive red balloons, her face finally in clear view, those signature ginger curls drawing immediate comparisons to her father's own locks. A well-placed source shares that this rare reveal was no casual post. It was strategically timed to capture the holiday's warm glow, perhaps softening their often combative public narrative. Yet, for a duo who've built fortresses around their children's privacy, shielding them from the very spotlight that's defined their post-royal brand, this feels somewhat contradictory, doesn't it? Speculation swirls about why young Archie remains conspicuously absent from such glimpses, fueling chats in social circles about their parenting choices and family dynamics. A source within the inner circle hints it's part of a broader reset vibe Meghan's pushing for 2026. Echoing her recent dip into that viral 2026 is the new 2016 trend. A nostalgic nod to the year they met, complete with vows for a gentler pace after what she called a whirlwind 2025. Accompanied by throwback portraits and subtle family nods, it aims to evoke renewal, but skeptics view it as polished PR, especially following a year dotted with missteps like the underwhelming Cookie Queens documentary they executive produced. Speaking of those homey touches, let's not overlook the chocolate gifting moment captured in a video Meghan shared earlier in the month, where she presents Harry with treats from her as-ever lifestyle line. Him eagerly unwrapping a white chocolate bar in what looks like their Montecito office. Charming on the surface, a well-meaning staff member confides it's laced with product placement, promoting her brand amid whispers of sluggish sales and ambitious expansions that haven't quite landed. Harry's supportive role is evident, but one detects an undercurrent of caution from him, perhaps riling her up with pragmatic advice on not overextending amid their financial pressures. With Netflix deals teetering despite greenlighting projects like Heart of Invictus, these snippets highlight the delicate balance they're striking between personal life and profit, all while public opinion grows increasingly cynical about the authenticity behind the lens. These celebratory outings and shares, the games, the dinners, the posts, offer tantalizing peeks into their world, rich with glamour, yet riddled with questions. But they also amplify the brewing feuds lurking just below, like the resurfacing security saga that's dominated chatter these days. Excerpts from Russell Myers's new biography lay it bare. Harry's reported fury over Meghan being denied protection before their 2018 wedding, while Catherine received it early in her relationship with William. Someone close to palace circles reveals this disparity as a flashpoint for accusations of double standards, racism, and favoritism, stoking quarrels that echo through their family rifts to this day. Tied to Meghan's alleged one condition for any UK return, armed security for the Invictus countdown in July, it's a reminder of how past grievances color their present. And with Epstein's scandal whispers faintly echoing, her purported demands to Harry to avoid royal entanglements protect her empire but deepen the isolation. We've illuminated the spotlight moments, laced with intrigue and a hint of doubt, but they merely prelude the stormier scandals ahead. As we press on, the feuds and whispers take center stage, promising even richer drama to unpack. As these spotlight moments fade, the real undercurrents of discord come sharply into focus, particularly the resurfacing security feud that's dominated royal gossip over the 15th and 16th. Excerpts from Russell Myers's latest biography have reignited the flames, detailing Prince Harry's seething frustration that Meghan was left without protection in the lead-up to their 2018 wedding, while Catherine enjoyed safeguards from her early days courting William. Someone close to palace circles confides this wasn't just a logistical oversight. It symbolized deeper double standards, laced with accusations of racism and favoritism that Harry has long attributed to the firm's institutional biases. It's a quarrel that strikes at the heart of their rift with the royals, fueling endless speculation about why one future princess was prioritized over another. Public sentiment echoes a weary skepticism. After years of Harry airing these grievances in books and interviews, it feels like a well-trodden path, especially as Meghan's purported one condition for any UK return, armed security for events like the Invictus Games countdown in July, mirrors those old wounds. One can't help but question if this demand is genuine caution or a convenient barrier, keeping her firmly on American soil while Harry navigates the crossings alone. This security saga intertwines with the scandalous whispers of the Epstein affair, which have cast lingering shadows over the family, and, by extension, the Sussexes. Fresh murmurs from U.S. Justice Department documents have surfaced names tangentially linked to the late financier's circle, including vague associations with Meghan from her pre-royal days. Nothing concrete, but enough to stir uncomfortable questions about old Hollywood connections, like rumored ties to figures such as Steve Mnuchin. A source behind closed doors reveals the American government's deliberate snub in refusing to acknowledge her as the Duchess of Sussex in official records, a move that underscores their diminished status across the pond. The irony isn't lost on observers. A pair who've championed accountability and victim advocacy now find themselves dodging peripheral echoes of a scandal that engulfed Prince Andrew, dragging his daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, into the emotional crossfire. Meghan's alleged edicts to Harry steer clear of royal reconciliations to shield her as-ever brand from the taint, add layers of drama, likening this crisis to the most tumultuous since Diana's era. Yet broader opinion tilts toward cynicism. After leveraging their titles for ventures while decrying the monarchy's flaws, this selective distancing rings somewhat hollow, doesn't it? It's the kind of intrigue that keeps social circles abuzz, with wilder rumors even suggesting Meghan's past Yacht-A-Girl circuit involvement in the early 2010s. Whispers that only amplify the family's broader vulnerabilities. Turning inward, the turmoil at Archewell has escalated into a narrative of outright crisis, with staff departures painting a picture of instability that's hard to ignore amid the February buzz. A source within the inner circle discloses that longtime executive director James Holt is stepping down after 5 years, following the abrupt exit of U.S. publicist Meredith Maines after less than a year, marking yet another PR shuffle in a string that's left them substantially weakened entering 2026. Insiders murmur of Meghan's reported full meltdown, directing blame at Harry for a cascade of setbacks, from donor slumps to mounting expenses that outpace contributions. Their charity's focus on HIV aid in Africa now faces scrutiny over financial discrepancies, with whispers of unpaid debts, including millions allegedly owed to Tyler Perry for fronting their Montecito mansion back in 2020, leaving the godfather of Lilibet feeling sidelined and disillusioned. Add in business flops like the Cookie Queens documentary, which tanked at Sundance with scathing reviews and vanished from the cultural radar, and you have a cocktail of money woes that's ripe for gossip. A longtime family acquaintance hints these strains are exacerbating domestic tensions, with Meghan viewing Harry's lingering royal baggage as a hindrance to her ambitions, while he pushes back against her difficult reputation that's reportedly scaring off top U.S. agencies, who privately dubbed the pair delusional. These professional fractures bleed seamlessly into the marital speculations that have intensified over the 15th and 16th, with separate lives narratives gaining fresh traction. Harry's solo pursuits, jetting off for UK court battles over tabloid hacking and security, contrasts sharply with Meghan's brand-building isolation, fueling divorce whispers that once seemed fringe but now echo louder in insider chats. Someone close to palace circles confides Harry's growing homesickness is palpable, a quiet pull toward mending fences with King Charles and Prince William. Yet Meghan's protective instincts veto such moves, prioritizing her empire over family bridges. Psychic predictions add a sensational twist. Seers like Jane Wallace foresee a third child as a potential reset from their woes, challenging Harry's past eco-pledge of 2 maximum kids to curb their carbon footprint. It's dramatic fodder, but one detects the public's mounting weariness after the Oprah bombshells, Spare's revelations, and Netflix's exposés. Their dynamic appears more strained than steadfast. Reports of Harry's paranoia setting in post Meghan's 2017 Invictus debut in Toronto only heighten the emotional intrigue, with him shifting from carefree prince to a man haunted by media betrayals and lawsuits. As the scandals and whispers recede, our gaze turns to the financial shadows looming over Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's horizon, where 2026 promises a crossroads of fiscal pressures and speculative paths that could either stabilize their California haven or plunge it deeper into the chasm of drama, division, and unresolved debts that have been building for years. Let's start with Harry's anticipated returns to British soil, where ongoing court battles over tabloid hacking and security provisions beckon him back across the Atlantic, potentially as early as spring, for hearings that have dragged on relentlessly, testing his resolve and resources with no swift resolution in sight. A well-placed source confides he's determined to face these head-on in person, viewing them as pivotal fights not just for personal vindication, but for broader accountability and media practices that have haunted him since his youth. But Meghan's insistence on armed protection for any involvement in these trips casts a long, lingering shadow, her one condition that echoes those bitter pre-wedding denials of security and raises eyebrows about her true willingness to join him at all, perhaps preferring the safety of Montecito to the scrutiny of London. It's a stance that invites a healthy dose of skepticism. After decamping to America, citing unbearable media intrusions, institutional lapses in safety, and a toxic royal environment, demanding elite safeguards now feels like a tailored excuse to remain firmly stateside, especially for the Invictus Games in July, an event Harry's poured his soul into since founding it over a decade ago, but one where her attendance seems increasingly improbable, amid reports of her discomfort with the associated risks. Whispers from a longtime family acquaintance suggest this could lead to awkward family dynamics during his visits. Perhaps a cold rebuff from King Charles in a formal setting, or, in a more hopeful but unlikely vein, subtle overtures toward reconciliation with Prince William that have been teased in palace circles for months now. Though public opinion leans heavily toward the cynical, weary of repeated olive branches that fizzle out amid the echoes of past betrayals detailed in Spare and their Netflix series. These UK jaunts underscore the broader financial fissures cracking their once glamorous foundation, with Arkewell's woes painting a vivid picture of a venture on increasingly shaky ground as donor contributions dwindle steadily and operational costs spiral out of control in ways that insiders describe as unsustainable. Reports surfacing around the 15th and 16th highlight not just sluggish fundraising, but outright declines. With high-profile hires, ambitious global initiatives, and the upkeep of their Montecito estate, all outstripping incoming funds, prompting urgent whispers of impending layoffs to stem the financial bleed before it becomes a hemorrhage. A source within the inner circle reveals that unpaid obligations are piling up behind the scenes, including that rumored multi-million debt to Tyler Perry for their 2020 mansion bailout, a generous favor from Lilibet's godfather that's reportedly soured over time, leaving him feeling thoroughly used and prompting a quiet withdrawal from their inner social circle, which only adds to the isolation they're experiencing. Their Netflix alliance teeters perilously on the edge, with a string of flops like the executive-produced Cookie Queens documentary, panned by critics for its superficial treatment of themes and largely ignored by audiences despite a buzzy Sundance premiere, exemplifying a pattern of underperformers that have strained the multi-million-dollar partnership to its limits, even as they've managed to greenlight follow-ups such as Heart of Invictus in a bid to salvage the deal. Meghan's as-ever expansions, from those Compartase chocolates gifted to Harry in those carefully staged home videos, him unwrapping a white chocolate bar with apparent delight in their sunlit office, to broader lifestyle pushes encompassing wellness retreats, fashion collaborations, and even rumored cookware lines, carry a distinct whiff of overambition, with sales reportedly lagging behind projections and former partners grumbling about deceptive marketing practices that promised more than they delivered. Harry's solo advocacy work pulls precious resources in one direction, funding veteran support and legal fees, while hers veers toward commercial ventures that demand heavy upfront investments, amplifying the separate lives gossip that their Valentine's outings aim to dispel. Those carefully curated photos from the NBA courtside seats alongside Queen Latifah on the 15th and that intimate Beverly Hills dinner at Funke showed hand-holding, shared laughs, and an air of unity. But a well-meaning staff member confides it all felt meticulously contrived, a thin veil over the mounting money anxieties, emotional undercurrents, and diverging priorities that threaten to unravel their meticulously built Montecito dream into something far less idyllic. Interwoven with these fiscal strains are the enduring royal rifts, where emotional quarrels continue to simmer beneath the surface and shape every decision about their future choices, creating a web of intrigue that's as captivating as it is exhausting. A source behind closed doors discloses the Princess of Wales's curt and telling assessment of Meghan. Not worth it. A sentiment that captures the profound exhaustion with the ongoing saga, where every tentative gesture toward peace seems inevitably overshadowed by the weight of historical slights and public airings of grievances. Prince William's pain cuts particularly deep, insiders say, with him reportedly heartbroken over the brother who once shared boyhood confidences and adventures, now transformed into this paranoid litigant, fixated on media vendettas, institutional betrayals, and lawsuits that have only widened the chasm between them to seemingly irreparable widths. This all ties back to the foundational security feud, with Harry's unabated rage over Meghan's pre-wedding vulnerability left exposed without protection, contrasting so sharply with Catherine's seamlessly guarded courtship with William, fueling long-standing accusations of institutional favoritism, subtle racism, and double standards that remain unresolved and continue to poison any prospects for genuine family harmony. Amid the Epstein scandal's insidious ripples, fresh document mentions resurfacing old associations, and the U.S. government's pointed snubs in refusing her Duchess title, adding layers of unwelcome scrutiny, Meghan's stern warnings to Harry about avoiding the firm's taint at all costs, served to protect her burgeoning empire, but only deepened their self-imposed isolation, leaving him torn between unwavering loyalty to his wife and a quiet, persistent homesickness for the familial connections and British roots he left behind in such dramatic fashion. Speculation about 2026's potential twists and turns runs rampant in the gossip mills, from partial UK relocations floated in outlets like Radar Online, perhaps leveraging the Invictus Games for a triumphant, if tentative, family reunion that could include low-key meetings with the grandchildren, to full-blown fallouts or divorce proceedings erupt over heated custody battles, asset divisions, and the untangling of their intertwined brand empires. Psychic seers like Jane Wallace add a dash of the sensational with their teasings of surprises on the horizon. A third child that would defy Harry's earlier eco-conscious pledge of 2 kids maximum to limit their environmental footprint, or perhaps long-awaited security victories in court that enable bolder transatlantic moves without the constant fear of vulnerability. But one senses the public's dismissive eye roll at such sensationalism, preferring grounded intrigue over mystical forecasts. Wilder rumors persist unabated, like tenuous links to the P. Diddy scandal resurfacing in tabloid digs, or Meghan's alleged yacht girl past from her early 2010s acting days being dredged up anew, heightening the overall drama around potential comebacks, collapses, or reinventions that could redefine their narrative. Will they be forced to crawl back on their knees, as some palace watchers predict, seeking forgiveness and financial reprieve from King Charles amid their weakening ventures? Or will they double down on American independence, weathering the storm of donor dips and business slumps with defiant new launches? It's a narrative positively brimming with intrigue, where money quarrels, emotional divides, and the pull of legacy could tip the scales in any number of directions, keeping us all on the edge of our seats. In contemplating these intricate shadows and forward speculations, my dear friends, it's clear that the Sussexes story embodies a tapestry of unbridled ambition entangled with deep-seated resentment, where glossy veneers splinter irreparably under the cumulative weight of self-made dramas, mounting debts, and the unrelenting glare of public scrutiny. Whether the royal gaps finally bridge through some miraculous reconciliation, or the chasms widen into permanent estrangements that reshape the monarchy's fringes, the collective weariness in public circles mirrors our own, a clear-eyed recognition that the intrigue, while endlessly captivating, may well be reaching its saturation point after years of nonstop revelations and reinventions. Thank you for sharing this extended journey through the ripples and undercurrents. Until next time, keep attuned to those ever-elusive palace echoes, where the next chapter is undoubtedly brewing just out of sight.